feel like learning to swim is an impossible task? Do you feel so overwhelmed? If you've learnt to drive before, I'm going to tell you why you can swim as well. Hi, I'm Alison. When I was 16, I was desperate to learn to drive. Many of my friends were older than me in my year, and they were already starting to learn to drive. Many of them have already passed their test by the time I was 17 and even old enough to begin learning to drive. So when it was my 17th birthday, I was desperate to get going and start to learn to drive. I really wanted to be independent and be able to get around myself without having to rely on lifts. I remember the first time I got in the car and went out on the road. I was terrified. There were cars everywhere. I was trying to remember where all the gears were, which pedal was the brake, the clutch and the accelerator, remembering to look in my mirrors and look where I was going, and there were so many things to think about. It seemed impossible. I didn't know how I was ever going to learn to drive, but I was really desperate to, so I kept practicing and I kept going out, and over time I got used to knowing which pedal was which and where the gears were and what I was supposed to be doing, and it started to get a little bit easier. And I kept practicing, and then a few months later, around that, I was able to drive and I managed to pass my driving test. And since then, I've got more and more comfortable driving, and now I don't even think about what I'm doing. I just jump in the car and off I go. And if I try and think about how to drive, it seems really strange because it's not something I ever think about. It becomes so natural and automatic thing to do that you don't think about it at all. And swimming is the same. When you first try and learn to swim, it feels like there's so many things to do. You have to think about what your arms are doing, what your legs are doing, how to breathe, which is something most of us don't normally think about. And it just seems so overwhelming and so impossible. But if you keep practicing it and working on all the different parts of the stroke, practicing them individually and then putting it all together and keep having a go at it, you'll find that over time it gets easier and easier. It might not be something that you find easy straight away. It could take a little bit of time, but it will get easier for you and more natural. I find that people who have been practicing things and starting to get used to the strokes after a while then find it difficult to do anything else. And they've been used to doing, say, breaststroke. They do breaststroke arms and legs. If you try and get them to do breaststroke legs but then front crawl arms with it, they find that virtually impossible because they automatically want to do the normal arms and legs for breaststroke. You want to automatically do it, and you find it really difficult to do it differently. And so the more you practice, the more that this happens and the more natural the strokes become, until the point you don't have to think about it and you can do it automatically. And then it's one of those things that you think, how did I ever manage to not do this? Because it's something that's so natural to me now. But the same as with my driving, that this is not something that you find straight away. It takes practice and it takes time to get used to, but you will get there. So just keep practicing it and just take it a little bit of time, and however overwhelming it feels and however much you feel like you'll never be able to swim, you can do it. You just need to take your time and keep going with it, and I promise that it will get more and more easy to do as you go along. If you have any questions or comments for me, pop them in the box below. And if you like this video, remember to click on the button and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.